John Paxson and Gar Forman, the NBA trade deadline is 9 days away. Please get help. You cannot mold these players you have. You need dogs with some bite, or trade everyone. Rose, Gasol, Butler, whoever doesn't fit the Hoiberg model, this team needs help. Last night, Derrick Rose sat out because of general soreness. I'm never going to question a player who says he's hurt, but sore? Everyone at the end of a 7-game road trip has general soreness. Rose's teammates needed him last night. No Butler, no Noah, no Mirotic, and desperate for a win. Sore, smarting, or sick, this team needed its hottest player. They're free-falling right out of the playoff picture. Bulls had no shot without Rose, and they knew it. They were defeated at the tip, giving up 38 first-quarter points to a below 500 team. Defense is about effort, not talent. So quit making excuses for Rose. He should have been out there. We forget about the games Tom Thibodeau's Bulls won shorthanded, without Rose and without Noah. His teams overachieved. He drove them. Dang, Robinson, Bellinelli. Remember them? Scrappy guys with a tough-as-nails, selfless identity. This team has no personality. Pax, Scar, and Fred, get a leader. Get a junkyard dog. Players who fit your vision, because this lethargic bunch looks lost and ugly.
Mitch Trubisky will start at quarterback, the fourth and final preseason game. Typically a dog featuring no starters and guys putting together audition tapes, but Mitch Mania makes tomorrow's Bears-Browns game the most anticipated final preseason matchup that I can remember. First, I don't agree with anyone who thinks Mitch Trubisky shouldn't play because of fear of injury. The franchise quarterback can't play in bubble wrap, folks. As former coach John Gruden says, you have to live in your hopes, not in your fears.
Those were boos, not cues, rocking the United Center last night. And while I don't agree with the strong negative reaction, I get it in this what have you done for me lately society. But boo birds, don't be jumping on that double-decker Stanley Cup bus if it's driving through the loop again this June. After personally witnessing 3 Stanley Cup titles, I'll never bet against these Blackhawks. Do I have to remind you all of their annual March malaise? 2 years ago, they finished 7-6-1. The last 14 games last year, 7-7. Hawks played into June the last 3 seasons. Hey, the core is a tired bunch, and in front of a stack of Bibles, they'd admit it. Loss of Corey Crawford, a power play unplugged, and the gelling of 4 new faces at the trade deadline has led to the panic. Home ice is nice. It's not a must for this team. They've won at least 1 road game, 17 straight playoff series. Stanley Cup confidence and a hot goaltender. That's most important. Corey Crawford was on pace to play a career-high game, so the break, well-timed. I'm banking on the Hawks catching their second win. I still think the boos showered on the Hawks last night will be confetti come June. I've seen way too much Stanley Cup hockey the last 7 seasons in this town to think about putting the Chelsea dagger in these Hawks just yet.
The powder keg finally went off with the Bulls organization. Atlanta outscores them 19-4 at the end of last night's game. Poor shot selection by Mirotic and Zipser down the stretch. No defense, no heart. Bulls needed a day off to cool off after blowing last night's game. Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler blowing up afterwards. Bravo! Congrats to the leaders for lighting the prairie on fire and literally burning down the whole neighborhood. Now we need a total rebuild. Ripping the young guys to the media, that's not being a leader. You think Mirotic, Zipser, and Grant respect Wade even more? No chance. Do you respond when your boss rips you? I don't think so. Hey, these guys can't help it if they're not very good. And implying your coach is passive and your boss has put together a rotten roster, you got to go. Other than Butler and Wade, this roster has little to no value. You can't get something for nothing, folks.
Watching this weekend's Sweet 16 and Elite 8 at a sold-out United Center, I asked myself, how could Chicago, one of college basketball's hotbeds, be given the cold shoulder by most of the game's top players? 3 straight seasons, not one school from our state invited to go dancing. Why? Illinois has not won an NCAA tournament game since their national championship showing 11 years ago. They had almost as many players arrested off the court than Big Ten wins on the court this year. And the best high school player in the city this season, Charlie Moore, snubbed by the Illini, so now he's headed to Memphis. DePaul has not danced since 2004. Loyola fell off the map after Alfrederick Hughes and Gene Sullivan gave Patrick Ewing a run for his money back in '85. The Flames haven't lit up the pavilion since Jimmy Collins left, and Northwestern still shooting for its first invite ever. 51 Chicago area players were part of this year's tournament. Last year's Player of the Year, Jalen Brunson's headed to the Final Four with Villanova. Why couldn't Illinois keep Brunson home? Xavier's Sean O'Mara chose Cincinnati over both Champaign and Lincoln Park. Hey, in the 90s, the excuse for the city's poor college basketball was Michael Jordan. What's the reason for the last decade? 48 McDonald's All-Americans will play in this great city the next 3 days. Not one of the 24 boys or 24 girls will play for a school in Illinois. Why in such a great basketball mecca do the game's best not want to play? I don't know about you, but as a Bulls fan, it killed me seeing a spiffy Jimmy Butler wearing his favorite nightclub suit with the losers at the NBA draft lottery last night instead of chasing LeBron in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. In Boston, they're excited about this picture at last night's NBA draft lottery. Celtics Isaiah Thomas trying to convince Butler to force a Bulls trade to Boston for their number 3 pick. Now, if reports are true that the Bulls fired Jen Swanson, who oversaw Derrick Rose's 2012 rehab and is now hiring one of Butler's trainers instead, hey, then the writing's on the wall. The Bulls are giving the keys to the car to Jimmy Butler. Butler has talked openly about wanting to trade with Rose during the offseason, build chemistry and team unity. If Derrick isn't interested, then John Paxson, please move Rose, not Butler, before the June 23rd draft. Hey, if Rose buys in, I want Rose back as a Bull. I'm betting on Derrick Rose next season. Another year healthier, playing for his son PJ's future. Rose, remember, a free agent next summer. No one can gain more than Derrick himself with a good season. Butler plays hard and he defends. His teammates must follow. If Derrick chooses not to, then maybe a new home for Rose in Boston, LA, or Phoenix might be best for all parties. In the Bulls' house, Jimmy's not the butler. He's the boss. Everyone else, either you're in or get out.